My wife said, I need a break from us after 10 years. I said, take your time. Then I filed for divorce that afternoon before she could. The sheriff serving her papers at her affair partner's house, perfection. I got the speech on a Sunday morning. Claire, 36, and I had been married 10 years. No kids, she'd always said, maybe later, and later never came, which looking back makes sense. We were having coffee. Normal Sunday. I was reading news on my tablet, she was scrolling her phone. Then she put it down and did that thing where she takes a deep breath like she's about to deliver bad news. Nathan, we need to talk. I looked up. Her expression was serious but not sad. That should have been my first clue. I've been doing a lot of thinking, she started. About us, about where we are, and I think I need a break. From us, to figure out what I really want. I stared at her. 10 years of marriage. Just like that. A break, I repeated. Yes, not a breakup, just space. Time to think clearly without the pressure of daily life together. Maybe a few weeks, a month. She reached across the table for my hand. I didn't pull away. This doesn't mean I don't love you. I just need to figure out if this is still what I want. Here's the thing. I'm not dumb. Over the past 3 months, Claire had been different. Working late more often, texting constantly, smiling at her phone in that specific way. New underwear that I never saw her wear around me. The classic signs everyone talks about, but you convince yourself don't mean anything because it's your marriage. So when she said break, I knew exactly what she meant. She'd found someone else, wanted to test drive that relationship while keeping me as the safety net. If it worked out, she'd come back and ask for divorce. If it didn't, she'd return and I'd be the understanding husband who gave her space. I looked at her, really looked at her. The woman I'd spent a decade with, and something in me just clicked off. Okay, I said calmly, take your time. She blinked, surprised. Really? You're okay with this? If you need space to figure things out, then you should have it. I squeezed her hand. I want you to be happy, Claire. If you need time, take it. Her whole face lit up. Oh my God, Nathan. Thank you. You have no idea how much this means to me. I was so worried you'd... She caught herself. Thank you. I'll stay at Heather's place for a while. Heather. Her supposedly single friend who'd been encouraging Claire to live her best life for months now. Sure, I said. Whatever you need. She actually hugged me, like I'd given her permission to cheat, which in her mind, I kind of had. She packed a bag that afternoon, took enough clothes for 2 weeks, her laptop, some toiletries, kissed my cheek at the door. I'll text you, okay? We can talk in a few days. Take your time, I said again. The door closed. I waited exactly 30 seconds. Then I grabbed my phone and called Doug. Doug's my buddy from college, now a divorce attorney. We play poker twice a month. He answered on the second ring. Nathan, what's up? I need to file for divorce. Today. How fast can we move? Pause. Today's Sunday. Tomorrow then. First thing, how fast can we file? If we have everything ready, I can file the petition Tuesday morning. But what happened? You and Claire seemed... She asked for a break an hour ago. To figure things out. She's staying with Heather. Another pause. Longer. Oh man. Yeah, let's do this. Come to my office tomorrow at 9 a.m. Bring your financial documents, property records, everything. Already have it organized. Of course you do. See you at 9. I spent the rest of Sunday gathering documents. Bank statements, mortgage papers, car titles, retirement account info. We'd kept things mostly separate, learned from my parents' messy divorce. Our house was in both names, bought 7 years ago. My car was mine, her car was hers. No joint credit cards. Her idea originally, which now made perfect sense. That night, I slept fine. Weirdly fine. Like I'd been holding my breath for months and finally exhaled. Update 1. 5 days later, Doug and I met Monday morning. Went through everything. Our situation was pretty straightforward actually. House had equity, we'd split it. Retirement accounts from during marriage would be divided. No kids, no alimony necessary since we both worked. I'm in IT management, she's in pharmaceutical sales, making almost as much as me. This should be clean, Doug said. Amicable even, if she doesn't fight it. She's going to fight it. Why? Because I'm not supposed to file. She is. After her break, confirms what she already knows. Doug nodded slowly. Got it. Well, we file tomorrow morning. Sheriff will serve her within a few days, depending on where she's staying. About that, I pulled out my phone, showed him Claire's location. We'd had Find My Friends enabled for years, safety thing when one of us traveled for work. She'd never turned it off, and she wasn't at Heather's apartment. She was at an address across town, same address she'd been at every night since Sunday. Doug looked it up. That's a house owned by. He pulled county records. Gregory Winters, age 41. Ring any bells? Nope. Want me to dig? Not yet. But when the sheriff serves her. I smiled. I want it done at that address. Doug grinned. I'll make it happen. The petition was filed Tuesday at 9:03 a.m. Grounds, irreconcilable differences. I asked for equitable division of assets, fair split of the house equity. Nothing crazy, nothing vindictive. Just done. Sheriff's deputy went to serve her Wednesday afternoon. I knew because Doug called me at 2:47 p.m. She's been served. And Nathan? The guy answered the door. Gregory Winters. Let the deputy know Claire was there. She came to the door in, well, she'd clearly been home a while. Deputy said her face went completely white when he handed her the papers. I felt nothing, just cold satisfaction. She call you yet? Doug asked. Phone's been off since Sunday night. I'll turn it on when I'm ready. Smart, she's going to lose it. Turned my phone on Thursday morning. 23 missed calls from Claire. 15 texts ranging from confusion to panic to anger. Claire, what is this? Why did someone serve me divorce papers? This is a mistake, right? Nathan, answer your phone. How could you do this? I asked for space, not a divorce. You're being insane. We need to talk about this. Greg said you had me followed? That's illegal. Greg. So that was his name. I texted back one message. You wanted to figure out what you really want. I'm helping you figure it out without me as the backup plan. My lawyer is Doug Patterson at Patterson & Associates. Direct all communication through him. Her response came in seconds. I never said divorce. This is not what I wanted. You're ruining everything. Me? All communication through my lawyer, thanks. Blocked her number. She showed up at the house Friday evening. I watched through the doorbell camera as she tried her tea. It didn't work. I'd changed the locks Wednesday night. She rang the bell. Knocked. Rang again. I opened the door. Kept the chain on. Hey Claire? Let me in. This is my house too. Technically it's our house until the divorce settles. But you chose to move out. You can't just come and go as you please now. I didn't move out, I took a break. You asked for space, I gave you space, permanent space. Her face was red, furious. You can't just file for divorce without talking to me. Actually, I can. That's how divorce works. One person files. But I didn't want. She stopped. Caught herself. You didn't want a divorce, I finished. You wanted a break to test drive Greg while keeping me as plan B. I'm just skipping to the inevitable end and saving us both time. Greg means nothing. It's not. We're not. You've been sleeping at his house since Sunday. Save it. How do you know were you following me? Find My Friends. You never turned it off. She looked like I'd slapped her. That's a violation of my privacy. It's an app we both agreed to use. You can turn it off anytime. Anyway, not my problem anymore. Nathan, please. Can we just talk? Just the two of us? I made a mistake. I wasn't thinking clearly. Talk to Doug. He's handling everything. I've got nothing to say. You're being cruel. After 10 years, you won't even talk to me. You asked for a break. I'm giving you one, permanently. Now get off my porch. I closed the door. She stood there for another 10 minutes, ringing the bell, knocking, yelling about how unreasonable I was being. I turned on the TV and ignored her. Eventually she left. Doug called Saturday. Her lawyer contacted me, some guy named Philip Reeves. Sounds like a strip mall operation. He's claiming you're being hasty, that Claire wants to attend marriage counseling, work things out. Would you say? I said my client has made his decision, and we'll see them in court. He pushed back, said we're not being good faith about reconciliation. I reminded him that my client isn't required to reconcile and that the petition stands. How long until this is done? We're asking for a hearing in 6 weeks for temporary orders. Who gets the house while this processes financial stuff? Final decree? Probably 4 to 6 months if she doesn't fight. Longer if she does. She'll fight, most likely. But Nathan? She doesn't have much to fight with. The facts are simple. You want to split assets evenly, no alimony either way. She'd have to prove you're hiding assets or being unfair, and you're not. Good. That weekend I deep cleaned the house. packed up all of Claire's remaining stuff, clothes, books, makeup, decorations she'd bought. But boxing, it felt therapeutic, made the place feel less like our space and more like mine. Update 2. 3 weeks later, the temporary hearing was scheduled for week 6, but things escalated way before that. Week 2, Claire's mom Diane called. I answered, because I'd always liked Diane. Nathan, honey, what is going on? Claire called me sobbing, saying you filed for divorce out of nowhere. Out of nowhere? She asked for a break to stay with another man. I just made it official. Silence. Another man? She said she was staying with Heather. She's staying with a guy named Greg. Has been since she asked for the break. More silence. Oh, honey, she didn't tell me that part. Didn't think so. Well, Diane sighed. I understand why you'd be upset, but don't you think divorce is extreme? Maybe counseling. Diane, I love you, but no, I'm done. She made her choice when she started whatever she's doing with Greg. I'm just moving forward. But she says it's not serious with him. It's just confusion. Then she can be confused on her own time. Look, I gotta go. Take care of yourself. Nathan, wait. I hung up. Felt a little bad about that, but not enough to call back. Week 3, things got interesting. Claire filed a motion for me to pay her temporary spousal support during the divorce. Her argument? She'd had to move into a temporary living situation because I'd locked her out and she needed help with rent. Doug called me laughing. She wants you to pay her rent at her boyfriend's house. You're joking. I wish. Reeves filed it yesterday. Wants $2,000 a month for transitional housing. The address on the motion? Greg's place. Can she actually get that? Doubtful. She makes $87,000 a year. You make $94,000. There's no basis for spousal support, especially temporary, and the judge is going to notice she's asking you to subsidize living with her boyfriend. He laughed again. This is gold, Nathan. She's making my job so easy. The temporary hearing came week 6. We showed up at the courthouse, family court, smaller room than I expected. Claire was there with Reeves, a pudgy guy in a cheap suit. She looked rough, dark circles under her eyes, hair not styled like usual. She tried to catch my eye. I looked past her. The judge, a tired-looking woman named Judge Kowalski, reviewed our motions. Doug had filed for me to keep exclusive use of the house since I'd been making all the mortgage payments, and Claire had voluntarily moved out. We'd split the equity later, but I should stay there during proceedings. We weren't asking for any support from her. Claire's side asked for temporary spousal support and for me to move out so she could move back in. Judge Kowalski looked at Reeves. Your client makes $87,000 annually? Yes, Your Honor, but she's facing increased expenses due to temporary housing because she voluntarily left the marital home. She needed space to evaluate the marriage. She didn't expect her husband to file for divorce immediately. Whether she expected it is irrelevant. She left voluntarily. She has sufficient income. Judge Kowalski turned to Claire. Ma'am, why did you leave the home? Claire stood. Your Honor, I needed time to think about our relationship. I asked my husband for a short break, just a few weeks. Where are you staying now? Claire hesitated. With a friend. Name and address of this friend? Reeves interjected. Your Honor, I don't see how that's relevant. It's relevant because you're asking for temporary support to pay rent at this location. Name and address, please. Claire looked at Reeves. He nodded reluctantly. Gregory Winters, Your Honor. It's a temporary arrangement. Is Mr. Winters a romantic partner? It's complicated. Judge Kowalski held up her hand. I'm going to stop you there. Mrs. Brennan, you voluntarily left your marital home to stay with a romantic partner, and now you're asking your husband to subsidize that living arrangement. Is that correct? It's not like that. I'm paying Greg rent. You're paying him rent? Well, no. But, so you're living there free while asking your husband to pay you support. Judge Kowalski looked at her notes. Motion for temporary spousal support is denied. Mr. Brennan will maintain exclusive use of the marital home. You'll both continue paying your own expenses during the divorce. Mediation is scheduled for 8 weeks from today to discuss asset division. Anything else? Reeves tried to argue. Judge Kowalski shut him down. We were done in 40 minutes. Outside the courtroom, Claire cornered me in the hallway. Nathan, please, can we just talk? 5 minutes? What's there to talk about? This is insane. You're destroying our marriage over nothing. You asked for a break to screw another guy. I said okay and filed for divorce. Where's the insanity? I haven't screwed anyone, Doug coughed. You testified under oath you're in a romantic relationship with... That's not. We're not. She turned back to me. Greg and I are friends. That's it. I was confused. I made a mistake asking for a break, but you didn't even fight for us. You just gave up. You asked me for permission to cheat. I declined to participate. I never asked to cheat. I need a break from us to figure out what I want? That's code for, I want to try someone else risk-free. Everyone knows that, Claire. Her eyes filled with tears. I never cheated on you. I swear. Greg and I, we're just friends. He's helping me through this. By letting you live with him for free while you figure out your feelings. Very friendly. You're being so unfair. File a motion about it. Oh wait, you did. How'd that go? I walked away. She called after me, but I didn't turn around. In the parking lot, Doug was grinning. That went better than expected. Judge Kowalski's a no-nonsense type. She saw right through the support request. What happens now? Mediation in 8 weeks. We'll negotiate asset split. If we can't agree, it goes to trial, but that's rare. Most likely, you'll split the house equity 50-50, divide retirement accounts per state law, each keep your own cars and debts. Should be straightforward. And if she fights it? Then it drags out and costs you both more in legal fees. But she doesn't have grounds to fight. You're not asking for anything unfair. Update 3. 10 weeks later, mediation was scheduled for a Tuesday. The intervening weeks were quiet. Claire didn't contact me directly. All communication went through lawyers. But I heard things through mutual friends. Claire and Greg's situation had soured. Turns out, living together full-time without the excitement of sneaking around made them realize they had nothing in common. Greg had apparently asked her to start paying rent. She'd moved out and was staying with Heather for real this time. She'd also been telling people her version of events, that I'd abandoned her, filed for divorce without warning, refused to even discuss counseling, and was being vindictive about assets. Some people believed her. Most people who knew us both saw through it. Mediation day arrived. We sat in a conference room at a neutral attorney's office. Me, Doug, Claire, and Reeves. A mediator named Donald facilitated. Let's start with the easy stuff, Donald said. Vehicles? We each kept our own cars. Easy. Retirement accounts? Doug explained that state law required splitting the marital portion, whatever was earned during the marriage. Claire had about $78,000 in her 401k. I had $112,000. The difference would be equalized according to the formula. She'd get some of mine, I'd get some of hers. Wash. House? This is where it got interesting. We bought the house 7 years ago for $340,000. Put down $60,000, $30,000 each from our individual savings. Current market value was around $485,000. We owed $240,000. That meant $245,000 in equity to split. Doug laid it out. My client proposes selling the house, paying off the mortgage, splitting the remaining equity 50-50. He has no interest in buying out her portion. Reeves jumped in. My client would like to keep the house. She's willing to buy out Mr. Brennan's portion. Donald looked at Claire. Do you have financing in place for that? She nodded. I've been pre-approved for a mortgage to buy him out. Doug raised an eyebrow. What amount were you approved for? Reeves handed over a pre-approval letter. It showed Claire approved for a loan up to $260,000. Doug did the math. So you'd be paying off the existing $240,000 mortgage, plus buying out half of the $245,000 equity. That's $122,500 to Mr. Brennan. Total of $362,500. But you're only approved for $260,000. That's $102,500 short. Reeves cleared his throat. My client has family resources. Does she? Doug looked at Claire. Do you have $102,500 in cash or confirmed financing for that amount? Claire looked at Reeves. He looked uncomfortable. We're working on that. So no. Doug turned to Donald. We'll stick with selling the house. Neither party has the means to buy out the other fairly. Claire spoke up. I don't want to sell. This is my home. It was our home, I said quietly, but you left it. For a break, not forever. And then you wanted to stay away permanently with Greg. Now that didn't work out. You want the house back. Tough. Donald held up his hands. Let's stay productive. Mrs. Brennan, if you can't buy out your husband's equity, the house will need to be sold. That's standard. This is ridiculous, Claire snapped. He's doing this to punish me. I'm doing this because I want my equity out, and I'm not subsidizing your life anymore. I looked at Donald. Sell the house, 50-50 split after the mortgage is paid. List it within 30 days. Donald made notes. I'm marking that as unresolved pending Mrs. Brennan's ability to secure financing. If she can't within 30 days, we list. We moved through smaller items, furniture, joint savings, only $4,200 which we'd split, a joint credit card with a $1,100 balance, we'd each pay half to close it. At the end, Donald summarized, You're largely in agreement on most items. The house is the sticking point. Mrs. Brennan has 30 days to secure financing for a buyout. If she can't, we list and split proceeds. Sound fair? Doug nodded. Reeves looked at Claire. She looked furious but nodded. Great, I'll draft the mediation agreement. Assuming no changes, you can finalize the divorce once the house situation resolves. In the parking lot, Doug was upbeat. She won't get the financing. Nobody in her family has that kind of cash, and she can't borrow it. House will be listed in 31 days. Good. How you feeling? Honestly? Relieved. I just want this done. Soon. Few more months max. Final resolution. Claire didn't get the financing. Shocker. Her parents couldn't loan her $100,000 and no bank would approve a second loan to cover the gap. The house listed 33 days after mediation. Real estate market was decent. Not crazy, but decent. We priced it at $479,000 to move it fast. Got an offer in 11 days. $472,000. I accepted immediately. Claire tried to argue we should wait for a better offer, but the listing agreement required both of us to agree to reject offers, and I wasn't rejecting. Deal closed 6 weeks later. After paying off the $238,000 remaining mortgage, closing costs and realtor fees, we netted $218,000, split 50-50, $109,000 each. The divorce decree was finalized 2 weeks after the house closed. Judge Kowalski signed it without ceremony. No alimony, clean asset split, both parties responsible for their own debts. Done. I got my portion of the house money on a Thursday. Moved the check into my savings account. Felt weird seeing that number. 10 years of marriage, reduced to $109,000 and split retirement accounts. Found a decent apartment near my office, 1 bedroom, modern, nice building. Leased it and moved in over a weekend. My brother helped. We ordered pizza, assembled my new bed frame from AITA, hung up my TV. You doing okay? He asked. Yeah, I said, and I meant it. Heard through the grapevine that Claire was also in an apartment. Smaller place, further from her work. She'd apparently tried getting back together with Greg, but he'd started seeing someone else. She'd been telling mutual friends that I'd stolen her life by not giving her a chance to fix things. One friend, Amy, called me about it. Claire's saying you filed without even trying counseling, that you refused to work on the marriage. Amy, she asked for a break to stay with another guy. What exactly was I supposed to work on? Well, when you put it that way. Exactly. I didn't hate Claire. Honestly, I didn't feel much about her at all anymore. The anger had faded weeks ago. Now she was just someone I used to know. Someone who'd made choices, and I'd made mine in response. 3 months post-divorce, I was sitting in my apartment on a Saturday morning. Coffee, comfortable silence, nowhere I had to be. My phone buzzed. Text from a number I didn't recognize. Hey Nathan, it's Claire. I know we're not supposed to contact each other, but I wanted to say I'm sorry for everything. I handled things badly. I was selfish and stupid. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I needed you to know I regret how it went down. I hope you're doing well. I read it twice, thought about responding. Decided against it, deleted the message. She got her break, I got my freedom. We both got exactly what we asked for. Sometimes the trash takes itself out, you just have to let it go.